All right. Hello, WOFA. We of Action Virginia. It is so nice to welcome you to our new WOFA YouTube channel. So, right here, we are going to talk about the 2025 Virginia gubernatorial election and ways that you can get involved to help support our endorsed candidate, Abigail Spanberger, as well as Democrats up and down ballot. So this is the race. It is going to be a November election between Winsome Sears and Abigail Spanberger. There will not be a competitive Democratic primary or a competitive Republican primary, as these two are the nominees. The only other gubernatorial election that is going on across the country in the year 2025 will be the state of New Jersey, and there actually will be a competitive primary for the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Now, this is not the same case here in Virginia. Our candidates are pretty much set in stone. It's Abigail Spanberger on the Democrat side and the current Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears on the Republican side. So Abigail Spanberger, she was the former representative for Virginia's 7th Congressional District. She represented a fairly purple-ish swing district, the 7th district was. She flipped a seat from red to blue in the year 2018. We can go back and actually look at that. 2016, the 7th Congressional District right here in Virginia was represented by Dave Bratt. He won the 2016 election by about 15 points. You go over to 2018, this same district goes for the Democrat, Abigail Spanberger, by about 2 points, defeating the incumbent Dave Bratt that, as we can look again, 2016 won this district by 15 points. Quite an impressive flip for Abigail Spanberger. She went on to win this district in 2020 by just under 2 points. And even in a reddish wave year like 2022, and with the district redrawn due to the 2020 census, we have still a impressive victory with Abigail Spanberger beating the Republican candidate by around 5-ish points, we'll say. So yeah, Abigail Spanberger has an impressive electoral track record. We can look over to Winsome Earl Sears' most recent election, the 2021 Lieutenant gubernatorial election, where she was able to win by over 1 point. So Winsome Earl Sears is a candidate that has won statewide in Virginia already, whereas Abigail Spanberger has not. She was a former representative for Virginia's 7th Congressional District, a swingish district, as you just saw. It now kind of leans more blue as of recently with the 2022 election, delivering a 5-point victory for Spanberger. And even in 2024, Eugene Vidman was able to win this district by about 2 to 3 points, anywhere between that. So you look at this and you think, well, so which candidate's going to win? Virginia, is it a blue state? Is it a purple state? Is it a red state? Well, Kamala Harris won our state. The former vice president won this state over our current president, Donald Trump, by a little bit over 5.5 points. You'd have to go back to 2020 to see what a massive landslide victory for a Democrat candidate would look like, where it was over 10 points of a victory for President Joe Biden. And then in 2016, Hillary Clinton carried our state by about 5 points as well. So you see 5 points, 10 points, 5.5 points, 2024, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I guess Virginia is just this blue state. Not quite. 2021 was the year that Virginia elected Governor Glenn Youngkin, right, for the Virginia gubernatorial election. And it was the same year that Virginia elected Winsome Sears to be the lieutenant governor. We can look over to the 2021 gubernatorial election right here in Virginia, and we see Governor Glenn Youngkin beating former Democrat Governor Terry McAuliffe by about just under 2 percentage points. This was a surprise defeat, honestly. I don't think many people were expecting it until the very last few weeks leading up to Election Day. You can look at many of the polls that were available, at the very end of this race, and I believe we're looking at, that's Democrat polling. This is Republican polling. Well, so anyways, 2021, interesting year where we saw a Democrat president in the White House and a Republican winning Virginia's gubernatorial election. 2017, there was a Republican in the White House, President Donald Trump, and then a Democrat winning the Virginia gubernatorial election. 2013, it was kind of this, we'll call it an asterisk market. There was something new, a new trend that occurred where the Democrat in the White House at the time, President Barack Obama in 2013, was able to, have his presidency going on while Terry McAuliffe was able to win the 2013 gubernatorial election. A Democrat in the White House, a Democrat winning Virginia's gubernatorial election. Now, you can look and see there's a libertarian candidate who siphoned votes maybe from the Republican candidate, maybe so, maybe not. But you go back to 2009, and it's pretty much back to the way Virginia's elections have kind of gone. When there's one party in the White House, typically the opposite party is winning the Virginia gubernatorial election. 2009, Democrat President Barack Obama was president. In the White House, we had a Republican win the Virginia gubernatorial election. 2005, Tim Kaine was able to win Virginia's gubernatorial election while President Bush was in the White House, a Republican. So you see this kind of trend. 2005 follows the trend. 2009 follows this trend. 2013 bucks the trend all of a sudden, though there was a libertarian candidate on the ballot, so maybe that threw things off. 2017, we go back to the same old trend. 2021 follows the same old trend. So you might be thinking, well, okay, so 25 is going to follow this trend that's kind of always been the same in Virginia. Well, we don't know. Winsome Sears has had a track record of winning statewide in Virginia before. Abigail Spanberger has an electoral track record of winning a swingish, purplish district in Virginia's 7th congressional district. It'll be an interesting race, and I would love to dive into some of their policies that each of these candidates support. So Winsome Earl Sears, don't know if you know this, cast the tie-breaking vote against protecting birth control access in Virginia. There's really no sugarcoating this. There's no way around it. She supports restricting reproductive freedom, abortion access, and contraception access for women and girls all across our Commonwealth. So, I mean, there's nothing more on the record than a tie-breaking vote in the Virginia Senate against birth control access. And that's what you get with Winsome Earl Sears. You compare that to Abigail Spanberger, where she has come out full force against Governor Glenn Youngkin's veto of the Right to Contraception and Birth Control Act. Spanberger is in full support of reproductive freedom for women and girls all across our Commonwealth, and she has said, and I quote, "As the next governor of Virginia, I will always defend the right to access contraception, and should this legislation land on my desk, I will sign it into law." So that's pretty clear, pretty clean cut on the issue of reproductive freedom, abortion access, where you have Winsome Sears totally against protecting birth control access for Virginia. And she casts that tie-breaking vote in the Virginia Senate. Now we go over to marriage equality. Winsome Sears is even further to the right than our current Republican governor, Glenn Youngkin, on the issue. Winsome Earl Sears, morally opposed to marriage equality bill Glenn Youngkin signed into law. She wrote in a handwritten note, Sears has said, "I remain morally opposed to the content of HB 174, which protects the freedom of marriage equality in Virginia." Another on-the-record, clear statement from our current Republican Lieutenant Governor, Winsome Sears. Again, she is further to the right than Governor Glenn Youngkin on this issue. Governor Glenn Youngkin signed a marriage equality bill into law for Virginia. Winsome Earl Sears said, no. I wouldn't have done that. I would have vetoed that. I'm morally opposed to it. It's very interesting to see the current lieutenant governor breaking from the governor here on this issue and going further to the right on this issue and running on this issue for her gubernatorial race right now. Another thing to mention about Governor Glenn Youngkin is that he vetoed bills that would have raised Virginia's minimum wage and given paid family and medical leave to all Virginians. Governor Glenn Youngkin, again, vetoed this bill, something that would have created economic security for hardworking Virginians and our families all across our Commonwealth. This is like a common sense measure. Implement paid family and medical leave. Oh, well, parents get to start taking, more time with their children. They don't have to go immediately back to work. They can take some paid time off to enjoy their time that they're never going to get back with their precious newborn children. And let's say you are caring for an aging parent at the same time, and maybe they get sick or you get sick. It's nice to have that security of paid sick leave, paid medical leave, to ensure that you're able to take care of yourself or your aging parents or your ill children while you can still get paid and have that little bit of economic security blanket. Governor Glenn Youngkin vetoed this. And it makes you wonder, well, what would Winsome Sears do? It's a continuation. Youngkin, Sears, they are tied to the hip. They are together on nearly every single issue, maybe except marriage equality, where actually Winsome Sears is further to the right than Glenn Youngkin. So, if anything, Winsome Sears might be further to the right than a simple veto of paid family and medical leave and an increased minimum wage. Who knows? She might go as far to decrease Virginia's minimum wage. But we can't ignore that this is just clear on the record. Governor Glenn Youngkin vetoed bills that would have created more economic security for hardworking Virginians and our families. And Winsome Sears is a continuation of these vetoes. She would not support paid family and medical leave, and she would not support an increase to Virginia's minimum wage. Now, Spanberger, on the other side, she has actually done a lot to remove caps on Social Security benefits for public servants. Yes, she was part of the effort. It was her bill, the Social Security Fairness Act, which, again, was co-sponsored by her. This act, again, aims to boost retirement benefits for some retirees that draw public pensions. Examples would be former police officers, firefighters, and teachers. Now, this is Abigail Spanberger, someone who has fought to bring economic security to Virginia's communities, including, yes, expanding Social Security benefits, but she also worked very hard with the American Rescue Plan, where it expanded the child tax credit, expanded the earned income tax credit, expanded the child independent care tax credit. There are so many things that Spanberger has been a part of during her time in Congress to ensure that economic security was brought to every single hardworking Virginian and family across our Commonwealth. That's not the same with the Youngkin-Sears administration. They have worked tirelessly to block things like paid family and medical leave and an increased minimum wage and even lower prescription drug costs. Yes, Governor Glenn Youngkin vetoed the Prescription Drug Affordability Board. Abigail Spanberger would absolutely support the implementation of the Prescription Drug Affordability Board. I truly do believe. So when you talk about economic security, when you think about that, Abigail Spanberger is your candidate. It's not going to be Winsome Sears, a continuation of the Youngkin administration. Now, Abigail Spanberger has laid out her platform already to help hardworking Virginians. She has said that if you elect her as governor, She will sign a bill that raises Virginia's minimum wage to $15 an hour. And there can be a conversation where maybe, by the time she's governor, it's actually, we need more than $15 an hour. $15 an hour does not cut it in our Commonwealth. And I'm sure there will be debates and conversations if she is elected governor about what the minimum wage should be. But I can tell you one thing. If Winsome Sears is elected, there will be no conversations about an increased minimum wage. It'll be 4 more years of high costs, lower wages, lower benefits, and less economic security for hardworking Virginians and our families. Abigail Spanberger has come out and said that Virginians shouldn't have to choose between keeping their paycheck and having a child or keeping their paycheck and taking care of their loved one. So that was her position on Governor Glenn Youngkin's action to veto paid family and medical leave. Spanberger seems to be in support of some level of paid family and medical leave. And this just shows, again, Spanberger is the candidate for economic security for all in our Commonwealth. Increased minimum wage, paid family and medical leave, ensuring that Social Security benefits are expanded, not contracted. This is a candidate that we should be supporting. So what can we do? Were we of Action Virginia, what actions can we take to ensure that Abigail Spanberger is Virginia's next governor? Well, Abigail Spanberger has a website. You can either volunteer your time, or you can volunteer your money. Money talks, it really does. If you're able to chip in $5, $10, $20, there is a donate button on our website, and you can fill that out. Otherwise, you can click the Get Involved button, and you can volunteer. You can apply for positions with the Spanberger campaign, official positions, and we highly encourage you to do that. There are going to be phone banking opportunities, door knocking opportunities. We will continue to write postcards here at We of Action. We will continue to donate intentionally to Spanberger and Democrats up and down the ballot to ensure that Democrats are successful this November. We have to ensure that Virginia is a good place to live with economic security, reproductive freedom for all women and girls, and where democracy is protected and respected. So Spanberger is clearly the candidate for the job. That is who We of Action Virginia is supporting. And there will be actions coming up that we will keep you informed on. We highly encourage you to subscribe to our WOFA YouTube channel and to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky. We are available on every single one of these platforms, and we meet once a month to ensure that we're all up to date on actions we can take for Spanberger's campaign and Democrats up and down ballot to ensure that we're successful and we have a Virginia that we all want to live in. So again, check out Abigail Spanberger's website to help volunteer, whether it be phone banking, door knocking, writing postcards, or donating money to help run the Spanberger campaign. Thank you guys so much.